about it. Learn about these guys. Learn what principles they believe. Learn about the 9 principles and the 12 values, and then how you can apply those principles in your own life with the different things that are going on in your own life and in the world. And what I wanted to do is have a conversation, and I want to have a conversation with you guys too. Please feel free to interject and try to problem solve here a little bit. Let's just imagine that we're all sitting at a giant table together, because I know we have some big brains in the studio audience as well. I want to talk to you about. You know what? Let me ask you, what is the biggest problem that we're facing right now that you can't seem to get your arms around? The economy. Can we be more specific on the economy? Yes?
America is filled with U.S. citizens, not Americans anymore.
Okay. How do we solve that? Anybody want to look at those principles and those values and solve? How do we solve that question? That America is surrounded or has a lot of people that are not American citizens who have come in here illegally. The question is, if you say build a fence or whatever, well, you probably you're a racist. What principles and values would tell you that we should protect our own borders or open them up? Number 6? Number 6 is, I have a right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, and not a guarantee of equal results. How is number 6? Do we have a mic? How is number 6?
6 would work, but I was referring more to, we have U.S. citizens. They are true citizens, but they're not of the American mindset.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
They don't believe in the principles, live and let live, and don't tread on me.
They don't know what that means. That's not taught anymore. I mean, if you're going into schools and stuff like that, and they don't even say the Pledge of Allegiance anymore, and you're finding yourself. I mean, people have everyone has the right to say something. That's the beauty about the United States of America. However, you can say as much. Sometimes you can say too much. I mean, I believe in the freedom of speech and the freedom of press. Hell, I fought for it. I've buried, so many of my brothers I can't even count. There comes a time when you need to realize you can't say everything you want to say. All right. And if you continue along that path, I mean, if everybody had their own opinion, then it's just going to scatter into a million different directions. You all right back there?
Well, let me go to Chuck Norris in Texas. Chuck, are you guys following this?
Yeah, we're here.
Okay,
we are. Yeah.
Chime in if you have something. You want to take this? How do you? Because we are a people of different opinions, and it seems like we're losing an American opinion. Me personally, I think that's the problem, because we've unhinged from all of these principles and values. We've unhinged from these. What they really believed has been lost, and so we don't agree on anything. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, personally, for me, Glenn, I think that the moral absolutes that have pretty much been dissolved have been the biggest problem that we're facing today, because without those things that define us morally, nothing else matters. And we've got to get back to that, those basic principles of morality and morals, and I think everybody can agree and relate to that.
Well, if we don't, Glenn, we're going to lose the Constitution, because John Adams said the Constitution was made for religious and moral people, and if we don't get back to that morality, the Constitution is going to become obsolete.
Dave, let me ask you this, because when people say that, they'll immediately follow it with, well, who's God? Who's God? Your God? My God? I'm an atheist, or I'm a Catholic, or I'm a Jew, or I'm a Muslim. So they'll say, who's God? How do you solve that?
Well, I don't think you're going to solve that for everybody, Glenn. But it does start in our communities and in our homes. It starts with our families. It says on our dollar bill, "In God we trust." I mean, that's been one of the founding Father's ambitions all along, that we would put our trust in God. I'm less concerned about how someone's God might be different than mine, and more concerned about how my belief in God helps me treat them in a certain way.
I think our founding fathers understood. Where's Joe? Joe, can you get that quote from? Do you know where that quote from Benjamin Franklin is on what he said? You know, they said, "What is America's religion?" And he described America's religion. Do you have that by any chance, or can you pull that up off of anything?
It's in the book, isn't it?
Maybe can you see if you can get it? Is it in the 5,000-year leap?
Yeah.
Okay, Dave will look at it for it too. Thank you. Joe is just one of our chief researchers.
Hey, Glenn.
Hang on just a second. Hang on just a sec, Greg, and then I'll come to you. They believed in the golden rule was one of the most important things, and that is do unto others. If we just live, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, a lot of our problems would go away, because you'd be able to solve socialism. Taxes, progressive tax. Is a progressive tax okay? Do unto others as they would have you do, as you would do unto them. You would have no progressive tax because you'd never be able to say, well, I don't think it's right to take 70%, 50%, 90% as FDR took. He tried to take 100% of money made over $25,000. That's FDR that everybody loves. You'd never do that, because you'd never want it. I read a great line from Thomas Paine last night. And Thomas Paine, have you read...
my hero.
Oh, he's amazing. I read Thomas Paine last night, and I was reading in Common Sense, and what he said was, this is going to be the best system. Is this it? Yeah. This is going to be the best system. Politicians' fidelity to the public will be secured by the prudent reflection of not making a rod for themselves. What he meant by that was, you can trust these politicians because they're not going to have the job for very long. And so they're never going to make a rod that the government can beat them when they go back into business. Well, that's the problem. That just convinced me it's time now for term limits. Because they don't make a rod. They don't make a rod. If you notice, they don't make a rod to hurt lobbyists because they leave and they go lobby, and they don't make a rod for lawyers because they'll leave and there is no tort reform. They've got to go back in business. That's what they have to do, and they got to get out of Washington. Greg.
As an American, my concern is with our definition of citizenship. And instead of being legally classified as a citizen, I like to think that citizenship is an active process, an active role. And as a young boy in Tennessee in the 4-H club, we learned things like that. And we learned the words of John F. Kennedy. He said, "Ask not what your country can do for you."
We couldn't be farther away from that now.
I think it's very important for us to be active as citizens. And if we start there as an identity, then service and courage and honor are certainly not exclusive to the military or any other uniform.
I want to introduce you to somebody here amazing in just a second, but did you find this? Is this? I don't have my glasses on. Do you have it? This is what Ben Franklin, thank you, Aaron. This is what Ben Franklin, they were going back and they said, okay, we need to educate in the Northwest Territories. We need to have education. And they said, what are we going to teach people? And all the founders said, we got to teach God. We have to teach the difference between right and wrong, so we're going to have to teach morals. And everybody started saying, whoa, 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 wait a minute, who's God? What are you teaching? And so it was left to Ben Franklin. And Ben Franklin said, I'll come up with the definition of America's religion. You tell me. I mean, there's always going to be, what's his name, Michael Needle, whatever his name is, that guy who's, whatever that guy is, the atheist in California, he's never going to be happy with anything. Michael Newdow, he's never going to be happy with anything. But listen to this. You tell me 90% of this country can't agree with this. This is America's religion.
This is Ben Franklin. Here is my creed. I believe in one God, the creator of the universe, that he governs it by his providence, that he ought to be worshipped, that the most acceptable service we render to him is in doing good to his other children, that the soul of man is immortal and will be treated with justice in another life, respecting its conduct in this. These I take to be the fundamental points of all sound religion.